Hi, welcome to this video on mean, median, mode, and range. So mean, median, and mode are what we call the measures of center. So these are the ways that we measure the center part of the data because it looks at the middle. Range is an example of how we measure variability. That's how much the data varies, like how spread out is it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just practice how to calculate. So what we have here in this top boxes are the definitions of these things, and then rather than writing the definitions out, you're just going to write in the words above it, which it matches. And we're going to look at this data that involves the inches, number of inches of students in a class. And so you can see that their numbers are all kind of spread out. They're not in any kind of order. So whenever you look at data, one of the first things you want to do is put it in order from least to greatest. I'm going to pause this video now and do that and then come back. So now that data is ordered from least to greatest, I purposefully wrote the minimum number here, 40. So 40 is the minimum because it's the smallest. I wrote that in a different color. And the maximum, which is 65. I wrote that in a different color. So maximum is the largest number. So the tallest person in this group was 65 inches and the shortest was 40. So that's the first thing we're going to do is find the range. So the range is the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number. So I'm going to write the word range here. And that's the definition of range underneath it. So to find the range, I say, well, the data ranges from 65 inches to 40 inches. That's a range of 25 inches. So that's a pretty big range. That's over 2 feet between the shortest person and the tallest person. Okay, and then so let's look at some other ways of measuring. So that's our variability. That's how spread out it is. It's pretty spread out. So now we're going to look at the center. So there's a couple ways of looking at the center. One of the easiest is to find the mode. The mode is the number that occurs most often. And you can see in this data set, there are 2 numbers that occur twice, and all the other numbers occur once. So there's only 140, 152, 154, that kind of thing. But there are 2 48s and 2 64s. So in this data set, there are 2 modes. The 2 modes are 48 and 64. And both of them are on the opposite range. So one is a shorter side and one's on the longer side, or a taller side. Okay, so we got the mode down. So now the next thing we're going to do is find the median. The median is the middle number. So the median is the number that occurs in the middle. So what that means is the median breaks your data up in half. So first you have to have your data in order from least to greatest, and then you're going to split it in half. And so I counted there are 10 numbers in this data set. So that means half of 10 is 5. So I'm going to count in 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the first half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the upper half. So there's a lower half of 5 numbers, and there's an upper half of 5 numbers. The median would be right between those. Well, there's no number there. So what I'm going to do is to find that median is I take the average. So I add 54 plus 58, and then divide that answer by 2. And whatever I get, 112 divided by 2, is 56. So there's our median. The number in the middle of 54 and 58 is 56. That makes sense. It's 2 away from 54 and 2 away from 58. So the median number here is 56. Even though 56 isn't actually one of the numbers in our data set, that's okay. It's still the median. So we found the mode, the one that occurs most often. The median is the middle. We found the range. Those are the easy ones. Now we'll do the one that's the mean one, the one that's not very nice. It makes us do the most amount of work. We're going to find the mean. Another word for mean is the average. So the mean is the one where you have to add up all the numbers and get the sum, and then you divide by the number of numbers. So sum meaning we're going to add all the numbers, and then we're going to divide by the number of numbers in the data set. So when I add up all these numbers, I got a sum of, you can do it now if you want to pause, but I got 553. There are 10 numbers in my data set, so I'm going to divide by 10, and I get 55.3. So again, the answer for this measure of center isn't actually a number in our data set. but it would be, if it was in there, it would be right here next to 54, right in the middle. So as we look at our data, it had two modes, and then the median and the mean were very close to one another, but it ranged about 25 inches in range. But the average, the middle, was right around 56 inches. Okay, let's look at another data set for practice. So as practice, go ahead and take these tomato plant heights, put them in order from least to greatest, and then you try to find the mean, median, and mode, and then we'll find the range. So pause this video, try that now. Okay, so far I have put my data in order from least to greatest, which the max is 50 and the min is 36. So the maximum number is 50, the minimum number is 36, which gives us a range of 14. So a little bit more than a foot is the range in these tomato plants. I was then calculating the mean by adding up the numbers. I added up the 7 numbers, got the sum of 298. I divided that sum by 7 because there's 7 numbers in this set. There's 7 numbers listed here. And then I got about 42.6, which is right about here, right? A little between 41 and 45. Then I found the median. So for the median, since this time there's 7 numbers, that's an odd number of numbers. When I take 7 and think, well, what's half of 7? That's 3.5. So I'm going to count in 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5. And that puts me at 41. So the median is in our data set this time. So when you have an odd number of numbers, the median will be the middle number in your set. When you have an even number of numbers, you'll have to find that median. But our median is 41, which is really close to the mean. So this data is kind of like distributed evenly. And then I look for the mode. Well, since none of these numbers occur more than once, in this data set there is no mode. So you could have 1 mode, you could have 2 modes, you could have no mode, you could have 4 modes, whatever. You just look for the numbers that occur the most often. If you don't have any that occur more than once, then you don't have a mode. So there's 2 examples of finding the measures of center and one of the measures of variability. And hopefully this was good practice for you. Thanks.